everybody, this is Time Rider. This will be the third build in the Three Blind Mice series where we all start using the same casting. George from Hodges told me that the Formula race cars we did previously were outside his comfort zone. For this month, George sent me and Paul over at Fat Guys this VW bus, and I think he's just returning the favor. What the hell can you do with this? Well, I always kind of considered myself a recovering hippie. This was really the generation right before mine. I did not go to Woodstock. I grew up with Chevy, Dodge, and Ford vans, so I found myself in a bit of a quandary. What the hell should I do with this? Well, for starters, I need to take it apart. I've never taken apart an M2 before. They just are held together with a Phillips screw. All I've ever done is steal the wheels off of them. Sometimes it's a better alternative to buy an inexpensive M2 and take the wheels than it is to buy wheels online. The glass course was held in with a couple of rolled over posts, so they had to come out. The interior just dropped out. You can see it sitting there. Paul had sent an email before I even started doing this about what a pain it was to take this thing apart. And he wasn't lying. This thing was a pain in the butt. Now we're getting to the hard part. Everything is put together, it looks like, with heat. Like they put the plastic in, heated it up, and like mushroomed it. So it makes it very hard to get items out. I cut the backs off, and here I'm trying a little leverage. That still didn't get it out. I decided to try cutting a little more, and then I brought in the heavy guns to try grinding off the plastic. Yeah, but even that, it helped, but it still didn't get them out of there. You know, when I went at the backside and I tried pushing, and you can't see it because it went by so quick, but the little jewel that they use for the headlight just went flying across the room. I wasn't even pushing it that hard, but so now I'm short one headlight. And there was a dashboard that had to be literally cut out. The bumpers had to be literally cut off. But nothing beats the stripper. And what I have in the needle nose, I thought I had it on camera, is the little door that goes over that wonderful Volkswagen engine. I always like it when these guys do the time lapse. You can see the paint just baking right off of it. So I was on eBay, and I saw this tire set. eBay shoves ads at me like I'm sure it does you. And I liked the tire set because it had the ability for somebody to make a monster truck on a couple of different levels. You know, you could make a lifted 4x4 and roll some coal like them boys down south, or you could go full monster truck. And I got to tell you, when I grew up, I was a big fan of Eric Clapton, and he wrote a song, and the lyric in the song was, "Don't be acting halfway when you know we're all the way." So if I'm going to do a monster truck, I'm going to do a full-on monster truck. But you know, what the hell do I know about monster trucks? I only know about one monster truck, and that's this one. And beyond that, that's the extent of my knowledge about monster trucks. You got to lift them. That much I know. So you need some kind of a frame. But anyway, a Volkswagen monster truck. So have you ever heard of the chicken wars? The story goes something like this. Back in the day, Germany and France imposed a tariff on U.S. imported chickens. So, allegedly in retaliation, then President Johnson imposed a tariff on light trucks, among them the Type 2 VW. Now, the real reason, as is told at some point later in time, in case you're wondering, I'm just getting rid of the remnants of the bumpers. But anyway, supposedly there was also this deal between the UAW and Lyndon Johnson, whereby Lyndon Johnson would do something to reduce German vehicle imports, and then the UAW wouldn't go on strike. In the absence of headlights, I don't want just to have holes there, so I'm using this Bondix, which I use for a lot of things, to make myself some resin headlights. And the result was actually pretty amazing. I've said I would never use, it's not an incredibly great bonding agent if you're trying to hold a couple of things together, but that's kind of material dependent as well. But I haven't found that it works real well on metal if you're trying to hold pieces of metal together. It'll do it, but you can't put any strength to it. It's not like JB Weld, but it has a benefit. Man, it just dries right away. A little bit of filing work to smooth off, because I'm not going to put bumpers on my my monster truck. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing too, so just so you know, this is you want to talk about out of your comfort zone. Actually, probably not this part so much as just the whole project overall. So I actually did a little reading about monster trucks, because I'm just that crazy. But anyway, average monster truck costs about $150,000, and there's a couple of things that you have to do to make a monster truck. The first thing you have to do is lift it, and then generally you have to give it some power. And I intend to do both going forward. So to make a base, I figured what I would do is I would cut a piece of styrene, and then I would make a little frame to cross from one side of the vehicle to the other I'm just using straight pins, and I made some little dowels and some pipe. And then this engine I got from that Hot Wheels that I did a while back, where I filled in the hole. And I cut a hole in the roof, a little bit too big, so I had to patch a little piece of it. Back to my base, I had super glued pipe to simulate a frame. And then the idea in my mind was that if I painted the pipe yellow, it would help it stand out, and you'd probably not see the black quite so much. Especially when you figure there's going to be tires and other things covering part of this up. I have to apologize because I actually had a bad memory card on my camera, so I didn't get a lot of footage of me making that frame, but here I am putting the whole thing together, and yes, it does roll. So I also had that hole in the roof that I made a little too big, and I used some metal to patch it and a little bit of glazing putty to kind of ramp it down into the hole. And then some Duplicolor white primer. Kind of had to figure out a theme because, monster trucks have themes. So I ordered a set of decals from Second Chance Red Lines. And then I had some other decals kind of laying around. I'm using silver as my base coat because I am going to paint this with clear paint. Then I added some red to the silver and I painted the bottom of the bus with it. I was trying to see if I could create an effect, and it didn't really work out the way I had hoped. But it was interesting anyway. So anyway, like I said, I had some decals, and I bought some decals. And the cherry bomb was born. I'm just using Tamiya Clear Red, and I layered it up until I got the color that I like. I put decals on it. I did not record that. Then I coated the whole thing with Tamiya X22 High Gloss Clear. I'm not going to show you anything else. I'm going to show you how it ended. But first, thought I'd show you how it started. I don't know who dreamed up the tampo on the side of this thing, but I don't know. They ought to be taken out back and have the snot beat out of them. I think that's supposed to be a typewriter or something, but I don't get the connection. Anyway, I'll stop teasing. Big John's Cherry Bomb. Sorry about the crooked Big John on this side. What happened was that decal was one I had and it was kind of old. You can see a little bit down by the B, but the thing, it broke into like 5 pieces, so I didn't mess with it too terribly much. I got it close to where I wanted it. There's my V8 motor in the back. Those shocks I made using springs from a ballpoint pen and just a tube, aluminum tube. The whole side piece is made with aluminum tube. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, considering I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was really outside my comfort zone, George. You did it. I hope I did you proud. Big John's Cherry Bomb. So stick around for episode of The Bench if that's your kind of thing. Otherwise, I guess we'll have to wait and see what we can come up with for next month, huh? This is Time Rider. And Big John and I, well, we'll leave the light on for you. Thanks for sticking around for this episode of The Bench. Let me start by updating a couple of jobs that I've been working on. Here's that Rolls Royce that I tossed back in the stripper. One of the comments was that the red was too cherryish, which I found kind of funny considering the monster truck I just made, but that particular subscriber was absolutely right. Nailed exactly what I thought was wrong with the red. So what I did here is I'm laying a base coat of silver to which I have added some black. And I'm going to try to tamp down that red just a little bit with a darker base coat. And then also I went back and I watched Paul over at Fat Guy Productions in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, because he did this car. And I was really pleased with his result, and I wanted to see what he did. So I went and watched his video, and what he did was he added a little bit of clear smoke to the clear red. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit, too. And then this 72 Plymouth Satellite is one that a real longtime friend and subscriber had sent me. And I was nearly done, and I was looking at it and just thought, you know, I've gotten better at this since I started that, so I decided to start over. And this is the Plymouth Satellite. I laid a coat of gold down, and then on top of that, I laid a coat of smoke with a tinge of red added to bring that brown out. And so that's kind of where that's going. And then here's another one that you probably all are getting sick of, is this Mustang. And you can see I've kind of got the door sort of where I want it. I just need to get that casting line back on there. And if you all watch Juan over at Matchbox Resurrection, he kind of gave me an idea for a solution, even though I don't play the guitar, but how I can maybe put this casting line back on and have it look fairly decent. And then last but certainly not least on that particular front is this Corvette. There was a great deal of corrosion back here, so I put some glazing and spot putty, and I'm trying to sand it smooth enough so that when I lay the primer on, I can get a good finish on the paint. And then it seems like everybody wants me to do the Ford Thames wrecker truck, so that's going to be next up on the bench. I am going to do the Lomas ambulance, but I'm going to start with this one. So that's all I got for you. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Share if you like, thumb up if you like, thumb down if you don't. Please keep your comments respectful, and I'll see you next time around. This is Time Rider wishing everybody a great weekend. Blah, 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 blah.